A 3-2 pitch coming. And this is pounded up the third baseline and fair. Inside the bag, off the wall. Messina comes home, and it will be the second double in a row for Kennedy Jones. His third RBI in a 4-hit night.
Welcome back in. It is the Extra Point. Tyler Head along with you here on your Friday on the Game. Again, I'm broadcasting live out at Darlington Raceway. Thanks to our friends at Schroeder's Towing for allowing me to be out here. That was the call last night on the Gamecock Radio Network. Derek Scott on the second of Kennedy Jones' 2 RBIs, driving in the second of 2 doubles for his 3 RBIs last night. And one of the bright spots for South Carolina, unfortunately, that ended up falling 14-10 to the Bulldogs out there at Founders Park. Our guy Jack Veltri now joining me on the Love Chevrolet phone lines. And Jack, I was kind of worried you might actually still be asleep this morning. It was a very late night for you and everybody out there in the press box, I'm sure.
Yeah, first off, thanks for having me on. But yeah, I didn't go to bed till probably like 2 or 3 last night. It was a late night, and I think you said it too in one of your tweets. Let's never have an 8 o'clock start time, and I'm much more down with 5:30 tonight.
Well, you know what's going to happen. Today's game and tomorrow's game are going to be like pitchers' duels and end up 2-1 and going to be done in like 2.5 hours, right?
I'm fine with that. It gives me the rest of the night and day to enjoy myself. So I'm fine with that. So
that's very true. Let's start off with pitching. I got somebody that texted in our Firehouse Subs text line 803-404-6100, and Alan says Kimball should never start for the Gamecocks again. And when you look at the results in these past couple games, especially last night, I can understand the sentiment. Didn't even make it through the full first inning. Only went 1/3 of the inning, 2 hits, 4 runs with just the 1 strikeout and 2 walks. It's been a rough go of it for him as of late, and the last night was the worst example of that, unfortunately.
Yeah, Roman's definitely been struggling lately. There's just a lot of things that aren't clicking. I think the big thing is that, it's just he's facing a really tough lineup, and that's no excuse, but Mark Kingston was saying after the game that what he's noticing is that Roman's leaving too many balls up in the above the zone, and Roman needs to pitch up in the zone, not above the zone. And then Kingston said there's a big difference with that. When he's pitching at the top of the zone, he's getting a lot of fly balls and swings and misses and stuff. So he needs to find how to get back to that, and I don't think it should be in this starting role on Thursdays and Fridays. I think he needs to be coming out of the bullpen in more of just a low pressure situation right now. I just think it's just, I don't know. I think it's damaging for the kid's confidence, and I'm sure he wants to go out there and pitch better than anyone right now and help his team win, but unfortunately he's not doing that right now. I feel bad for him, but at the same time, I think they should have started Ty Good last night, and even though Ty didn't provide a ton of length, going 4 innings on 86 pitches, he gave you a chance to win the game.
We're going to have Eli Jones on the mound later this afternoon. And again, it's TBA for tomorrow, but we assume that's going to be Dylan Eskew unless he has to come out of the bullpen tonight. It finally kind of felt like South Carolina was settling into a groove with those starters over these past couple of weeks. But like you said, I think, for next weekend series against Tennessee, you probably need to reevaluate at least that first game starter. And again, Ty Good up to this point. I mean, even he went 4 innings last night, so he gave you some decent length. And, like everybody else, did give up a fair amount of hits and a few runs as well. So, that's probably going to be your best option. You hate that you're still kind of mixing up the lineup going into your last series of the regular season, but you do what you have to do, I guess.
Yeah, look, it is what it is at this point. I mean, I think long term, and I hate saying this, I just think South Carolina's got a real rotation problem, and I hope I'm wrong about this, but I don't know. It's just, I think you really need good pitching to make a run in the postseason. And I mean, look, if you don't have consistent starters and you're getting these types of outings, I mean, how far can you really expect to go? I mean, you really need guys like Eli Jones to step up and, pitch like they had been before this little rough stretch here. And I think he can get back to it today. I think there's so much on the line for South Carolina today, just for the bigger picture of, okay, they probably got to win today in order to, have a chance to win the series, but they also need to win this series to potentially host a regional. So there's a lot of factors going into this, and I think Eli will hopefully step up today. I think he definitely will. And then with tomorrow, honestly, in the back of my head, Tyler, I'm still thinking that maybe Mark Kingston is crazy enough to start Garrett Gainey tomorrow. I mean, I don't know. The fact that he didn't pitch tonight just tells me that, like, it's probably like a 50-50 chance at this point, because I don't know. Depending on what happens today, I could totally see that happening.
Interesting. Well, with Kimball's rough start last night, Georgia was able to jump on South Carolina with 4 runs in the top of the first inning. No surprise, Charlie Condon got the party started with his double that was able to bring in Corey Collins, the leadoff guy. How much of a disadvantage? And South Carolina scored 10 runs themselves. That's nothing to be ashamed of, certainly, especially against a pitching staff at Georgia that's done better as of late. How much did it hurt South Carolina having to play from behind the entire night last night?
It killed them. And, I was kind of looking back at the lines last night and stuff. What I'm confused about is that, you're trailing by, I think, 3 runs in the 5th inning. And Ty Good is obviously, his pitch count's going up. The trainer just come out to the mound and whatnot. And, I mean, I don't know. You go with Tyler Dean, who hasn't pitched in a little bit here. And, or I shouldn't say that. He hasn't been used as often as your regulars. And I don't know. To me, that just felt like an odd move. I mean, not a knock against the kid. I mean, I'm sure he's a good pitcher, but he's got a 7.5 ERA on the season. Why not go with someone like? I mean, you could have even gone with Drake Quinter, someone like that. I mean, I don't know. The game was still 3 runs, and obviously you give up 3 more runs right there, and it becomes a 10-4 game. It's just, I mean, they had to play from behind the whole night, and there's no excuse. It really did start with the starting pitching, in my opinion. But I mean, at that point, it felt a little weird. But I don't know.
Again, talking to our guy Jack Veltri from GamecockCentral, recapping last night's 14-10 loss for South Carolina over Georgia. And, of course, I don't think anybody saw South Carolina going into this series and sweeping the Bulldogs, but winning 2 out of 3, certainly realistic. But now, what is the sense of urgency that this creates for South Carolina, knowing you got to win these next 2 games with, again, a pitching staff that is a little bit questionable right now?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, this Georgia offense, there really aren't many easy outs in this lineup. I mean, I don't think there's any at all. I mean, 1 through 9, it's literally, I think it's a better lineup than South Carolina right now, just with the way Georgia has, Charlie Condon, Gonzalez, Collins, Phelps. I mean, these are all guys spread out throughout the lineup that can do some, do some mashing. But I think for South Carolina, you really do need to hope that your pitching does the job the next 2 games. And I think the good news is that, despite losing yesterday, you didn't have to use all of your best stars. I mean, you used Ty Good. That was a given. And you used Chris Beach for 1 inning. He'll more likely than not be available to pitch another game this week. He only threw 17 pitches. But now you have the rest of your guys available. So this really does give you the option, like, if, hopefully Eli Jones gives you a good start, then you don't have to use a ton of guys, and then you're really set up well for Saturday where, I mean, it's all hands on deck at that point. But, yeah, it really needs to be a sense of urgency. If someone's struggling, I think you need to pull them. If, if something's just not working, you got to make a change, I think. And, you got to do whatever I think it takes to win the series.
Cole Messina, rough night last night, ends up striking out 4 times. We've kind of seen this as a little bit of a trend. Kentucky a couple weeks ago had 3 strikeouts on Friday night, had a couple strikeouts against A&M in the 1 game that he played of that series. What is his issue with facing aces of staff, or at least the first starter of the weekend for these series in the SEC play?
Yeah, look, I mean, the guy's been playing very good baseball lately, right? And at some point, even the best hitters are going to struggle from time to time. And it was just one of those nights where he couldn't get, ahead of the pitch he wanted to, I'm sure. And I mean, he's fouling off a good amount of pitches. It's just, his at bats just, it didn't go the way he wanted. And it's never a good thing when you strike out 4 times in a game. But the good news for him is that the rest of the lineup kind of picked him up a little bit. I mean, Parker Nolan, Kennedy Jones, and Dalton Reeves all had 2 or more hits right behind him. So I think that just shows that, while one guy has a bad game, the other guys out there can go out there and do some damage. But at the same time, like, this is a point that I need to make here. I mean, when you score 10 runs, you should win the game. I mean, there's no excuse for losing a game 14-10. And I just, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think Cole will be fine. It's just one game, but at the same time, I mean, you got to be able to win when you're scoring 10 runs.
Well, hopefully tonight and tomorrow fare a little bit better, and hopefully you're not out at the ballpark as late as you were last night. Try and get a nap in, and hopefully the rest of the series goes well for the Gamecocks. Appreciate it as always, Jack.